Mary Helen Dara, Taylor Automotive Family, Women in the Driver's Seat. Today, I am with fellow Ambassador Joan Coase here in Findlay to meet another fabulous female. Who are we meeting today?
Today, we have the pleasure of meeting with Carrie Glass, who has just helped numerous nonprofits over the years. I think you'll enjoy her story.
Awesome. Well, let's go inside and meet this incredible woman and hopefully disprove the myth that accountants don't have a personality. Let's get in.
So today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Carrie Glass. Carrie, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And Carrie very reluctantly is joining us. She does not like to be in the limelight, and yet she deserves it more than about anybody I know here in Findlay. For the last 30 years, you've just had a huge impact. I mean, and Dave too, of course, but what you have accomplished and all the people you have helped over the years, you certainly deserve to be highlighted. So thank you for finally agreeing to come on. So will you share with us just a quick little snippet of how you ended up in Findlay?
When I graduated from college eons ago and left IU, I got hired by Marathon. So at 21 years of age, I moved here, started at Marathon, moved out a few times, went to Texas, Maryland, and Virginia, and then in 1990 wound up taking a position back in Findlay and moving back here.
And we might add that she lived with us for just a little bit of that time.
Yep.
A little bit of that time. So while you were at Marathon and the other positions, you were in corporate accounting, right?
Yep.
And then tell us how you've transitioned to what you've been doing for the last, how many years?
32.
32.
Actually, yep.
So please share with us that journey, how you've reached where you are now.
Okay. Yeah, started out doing general accounting, then went to a couple controller positions, then was CFO of a couple companies, and just kind of got to the point where it was like, okay, am I really enjoying what I'm doing? And the last few places I worked, I kind of bailed people out and turned things around. And that was very stressful. So the last place I did, I kind of bought them about 18 months to try and sell. And about that time is when I found out I was pregnant too, and I was like, I do not need this stress in my life. So left there and was kind of evaluating whether I'd go back to work full-time in the corporate world or do something else. And so a friend of ours who owned a CPA firm happened to call me because it was the first week of April, and he had no people available to go help a nonprofit organization called the Findlay Area Arts Council. And their bookkeeper had walked out on them the day before, and it was payday, and no one knew how to do payroll. And he called and was like, this is so not what you do, but can you please go help them? And I was like, sure, I'm not doing anything else. I'll go do that. Well, and that evolved into the Arts Partnership of Findlay and Hancock County. And if they wouldn't have merged with the Marathon Center for the Performing Arts 8 years ago, I'd probably still be there. So it kind of evolved into, well, I can do in 2 hours a week what they were paying somebody 20 hours a week to do and still get the work done and do a little bit more. And after I had my son, they were agreeable to him coming to work with me. And after that, each kind of additional organization just kind of evolved to, they need help. Open Arms, which is near and dear to both of our hearts, since you were a founding board member, and I was on the board at the time, they needed the same kind of position. I was like, well, I'm rolling off the board. This will be an opportunity that I can maybe interim, whatever, start doing that. And over the years, just added more nonprofits and small businesses. And a couple years ago was kind of the peak of, I had 10 different organizations or businesses that I did every week. Had about 5 more that I did once a month and several more that I did just year-end stuff too. And in addition to that, over the years, I had several CPAs that would call me to say, hey, can you come and help this organization straighten up their books, get their QuickBooks set up so that it's organized right and gives them the information that's usable to them and makes the auditors or tax person's job easier too.
Well, you have been such a lifesaver to so many organizations. As we both know, nonprofits often are very understaffed.
Yep.
And they do not have the knowledge or the money that they need to really bring somebody, to have a full-time person that knows grant reporting and knows the laws and knows how to do the 990s. And, you have really been just a godsend to so many of these organizations and really impacted just this whole area and helping these organizations really thrive and stay. I think some probably would have closed down or would have gotten in trouble without your help, certainly.
That's a possibility.
It's a possibility, yes it is. So what are a few of the most challenging and rewarding things that you do?
Probably, when you mentioned grants and that kind of thing. I mean, when I first started doing this, I didn't know anything about them. And, it was something that I had to learn and pick up along the way. I knew all the mechanics of accounting and finance, but the grants are a totally different animal, and especially when you start getting into federal and all that kind of thing. So learning all of those, and especially because no two are alike. So learning that was probably the most challenging piece. And another piece of it too is just dealing with boards from a different side. I'd been on boards, but not where you're trying to explain to people from many different walks of life or different backgrounds that, okay, what is a grant? What is a nonprofit? Why aren't they the same as a business?
Right.
And why are there just a lot of different ways that you have to deal with them? So those have been, kind of some of the challenges, but it's also been fun to try and teach other people about that too. So, and get them to understand why it's important to support all these organizations.
Right. Would you encourage young women to get behind the wheel of this line of work?
Absolutely. I mean, I have made a very, very lucrative living doing this. It's a niche that no one fills. And especially in Findlay right now, there are very few CPA firms that want to do any of this type of stuff.
Right.
They don't have the staff for it either. And none of these organizations really need a full-time person, but they need somebody that's got the background. And it's more than bookkeeping. It is truly accounting, and if you know accounting, you know payroll taxes, you know how to. I don't do the 990s, but I know how to get all the information and get all that stuff to them. Especially they're now 500 pages. But so just having someone who's knowledgeable about all that gives these executive directors or CEOs support that they wouldn't have otherwise on a daily basis. Right. And most of the people that get on the board, whether it's as a treasurer or a president or whatever, they don't have time outside their regular job to give that level of support either. Right. So just to help a CEO who's never done any financial reporting or been involved with the accounting and finance, to help them understand how to budget, how to, read a financial statement and understand how that impacts their overall organization too.
I have learned over my years of serving on boards how many board members don't know how to read a financial statement and don't really understand how it all works.
Yep.
That's a challenge.
Yeah.
So what aspect of your work are you most proud of?
I would say a lot of these, just once most of these organizations I didn't know much about before I got involved with them, with the exception of Open Arms, because I'd been on the board. But just getting to know these, and it really touches your heart, and just makes you realize that how important it is to give back to the community, and how important all of these organizations are to really support everything that happens in a community. And especially, with the size of Findlay, all of the organizations I've been involved with have substantial impact on the daily lives of so many people in these communities. And in my little way, I impact it too.
Well,
so.
you impact it in a very big way. So what advice could you give women who dare to get behind the wheel and drive an organization or start their own business or do something like what you've done, both the corporate world and the nonprofit world? What advice would you give?
Don't be afraid to do it. And the biggest thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's so many that I have seen over the years there's a lot of organizations, I've been through several executive directors and CEOs that I think the biggest mistake is to think you know it all and don't ask for help. Because I've said this from people that reported to me over the years through CEOs, that the only dumb question you ask is the one you don't ask. Because if you're asking it, somebody else probably wants to know too. And don't be afraid to ask for help. But take a chance and step out there, and it can have a very positive impact on your life.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story. We could go on and on and on, but really, and thank you again for all that you've done for Findlay.
Thanks.
It's been your shoes are going to be hard to fill when you decide to finally.
That day's getting closer.
Yeah, I know. So I hope you can help line somebody up to take your spot.
Yeah, I've been trying.
Well,
but
good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, buckle up, Carrie. It's time for the lightning round questions. Let's tackle the stereotype head on. Is accounting really as exciting as it seems? And what do people get wrong about accountants?
Well, yes, it is as exciting as it seems. And the stereotype is accountants have no personality. There's a lot of us that do. My son's an accountant too.
You proved that wrong today, for sure. You spent years in the corporate world before starting your own business. What's one thing you miss about corporate life and one thing you would never go back to?
Yeah, I'd never go back to having to deal with all the different people and just dealing with, I don't know, just the minutia of people on a day-to-day basis that want to nitpick. Probably miss that you can find support or somebody to talk to all the time if you need to.
Oh, great. If someone handed you a completely work-free weekend, how would you spend it?
Oh, visiting a new city or a big city that we can check out new places that we haven't been to and bar hop and eat good food. So.
Oh, that sounds like a plan. You've helped countless nonprofits and small businesses succeed. What is one quality you admire most in the people who run them?
All of them that I have worked with, they would do whatever it takes, from cleaning toilets to making the big decisions to make sure that their organization is successful and can continue to help people.
Oh, that's great. What's something people are surprised to learn about you?
Probably the biggest thing is that I did 3 years of high school in France.
That is incredible. Now, do you speak French?
I did, but we moved back in 1976, so okay.
Yeah, so one of those
50 years ago.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it.
You do,
so,
but
yes.
when we went 12 years ago, or 10 years ago, I guess, no, 20 years ago when we went, I still could talk enough to get us around. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, it has truly been a pleasure, Carrie, and thank you for being in the driver's seat.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carrie, for sharing your story with us and all you've done for Findlay over the last 30 plus years.
So, Joe, let's hit the road and see who's next in the driver's seat.